It's the Channel Mom Show with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
If family finances are tight and you could use some extra income, consider joining a supportive team of independent sales consultants who love to share healthy and natural skincare products for body, face, and baby. With demand for natural skincare at an all-time high, now may be the time for you to join Lemongrass and give your family the gift of extra income. Visit lemongrassspa.com today. This is one of those life-changing shows, and I really mean that. Everybody out there has been in some kind of a relationship. I know it. Even if it's just a mother-child, sister-brother, those kind of relationships. But a lot of us have been in romantic relationships. And that is a great segue into our guest today, our life-changing guest for this Valentine's holiday weekend. I'm a big, huge fan of this man and his wife, Dr. Emerson Eggerichs. He was just in the Denver area for his life-changing Love and Respect conference. He's the author of the breakthrough book and New York Times bestseller, Love and Respect, and he's the head of Love and Respect Ministries. He's literally helping to save relationships all over this great nation, and I'm so blessed to have him here on the show. Welcome to the Channel Mom Show, Dr. Emerson Eggerichs.
Hey, thank you, Jenny.
I'm glad you're here, and I'm so glad that you had your conference because my husband even attended, and that's a big deal. So thank you for putting that on.
It was a delight to meet him.
Yeah, thank you. Here's the deal. I want people to get, we only have about 10 minutes in this first segment. I want people to get straight, from the man himself, what love and respect means. Why, if this Valentine's, they're feeling unloved or disrespected, what's going on in their relationship? What's the trouble right now with relationships in America? And also, I want you to touch on what have we done to men in this society? Just go for it and explain this to people.
Well, those are great questions. First, the University of Washington studied 2,000 couples for 20 years and discovered that the two key ingredients for a successful marriage are love and respect. And that's why we, in part, have called our conference Love and Respect, not because of their research, but even the Bible references that in Ephesians 5, that love and respect is the basis of a successful marriage. The wisdom from that book and the modern-day research reinforces this. Mm-hmm. But they also got gender-specific. For instance, 85% of those who stonewall during a conflict are men. And at a certain point, that feels like an act of hostility or very unloving to a woman.
Yeah.
She couldn't imagine stonewalling. On the other side, they realized women criticize and complain. And at a certain point, ongoing criticism is interpreted as contempt or disrespect toward the man. So she leans on the love side of that equation. He leans on the respect side. In fact, we've asked 7,000 people this question. When you're in a conflict with your spouse or significant other, do you feel unloved at that moment or disrespected? And Jenny, 83% of the men say they feel disrespected. 72% of the women say they feel unloved. Now, we all need love and respect equally. However, during conflict between a male and a female, the felt need is as different as pink is from blue, as night is from day. And then we discovered a cycle. Without love, she reacts without respect. In other words, she appears disrespectful when she feels unloved during that conflict.
Right.
And when he feels disrespected during that conflict, he ends up reacting in a way that feels unloving to her. So she seeks to do the loving thing by trying to connect and confront, but she ends up appearing critical and complaining, which is interpreted as disrespectful, and he doesn't hear the deeper cry of her heart, do you love me? And when he feels disrespected, he does the honorable thing. He tries to de-escalate the conflict by calming himself down, because often his blood pressure gets to 99 beats per minute, and he's in warrior mode, so he's got to disengage. That's the respectful thing, only to be told he's the most unloving human being on the planet. So she feels unloved in response to him trying to do the honorable thing. He feels disrespected in response to her attempt to do the loving thing. And we have two good-willed people who are totally confused.
Yeah,
and you that's the message we're trying to get out.
And you call that the crazy cycle because it just repeats itself.
Cycle.
Yeah.
Without love, she reacts without respect. Without respect, he reacts without love, and this baby spins. And this is the issue when the issue isn't the issue.
Right, and that ends in divorce in this country, does it not?
And it's so sad because it's an honest misunderstanding. The person that we're married to does not have ill will. They don't get up in the morning thinking of ways to be unloving or disrespectful, though they appear that way. And when we react, we assume that they know why we're reacting, that we're not trying to be offensive. And so you have hundreds of thousands of people divorcing who are good-willed people who have an honest misunderstanding because we've been told that since we're equal, we're the same.
Yeah.
And because we know we would not react like our spouse is reacting, and particularly after we ask them to stop reacting that way, then it must mean that there's something wrong here. We've either married the wrong person, we don't know how to do this relationship, or this person is really not that trustworthy. They don't even respond to what I'm asking, so we have an element of suspicion.
Yeah, we've got this whole thing that is misunderstood, leading to divorce, and if we could just understand it, we could prevent some divorces. So I want to repeat, just so our audience understands, on this Valentine's Day weekend when there's so much pressure on relationship, that women tend to feel unloved. They can also feel disrespect, but they tend to feel unloved. Men tend to feel disrespected, and then those things get exacerbated, and the woman continues to disrespect when she's feeling unloved, and then vice versa. The man is willing to give less love as she sees it, and the cycle continues, as you say. So 2 things. Number 1, you explain that we've gotten into a position in our society where men are not allowed to be men anymore. So women have been taught that men should be like them. So they should be touchy-feely and sensitive and be willing to talk things out. And that's not where men come from. What's going on there?
Well, I think for the reasons we've stated, that if we're equal, then there must be a sameness. And particularly if we subscribe to an evolutionary worldview that we're evolving, that we're becoming better and better, there are a lot of good-willed intellectual people out there who truly believe that we are evolving and that men need to evolve farther down the intimacy dynamic and so they catch up to where women are. We tell men to get in tune with their effeminate side. We don't tell women to get in tune with their masculine side.
Right.
The bias against the male is there, and it'll be against our sons. And it's not that people lack goodwill. They're really trying to do relationships well. But what we're doing is we're not coming to this point where we realize that we are different, but we're not wrong, and that men do relationships differently. For instance, women want to talk face-to-face, heart-to-heart to resolve things. A lot of times among the men, we resolve things by saying, drop it, forget it, and then we go out and do something shoulder-to-shoulder. And when we do things shoulder-to-shoulder without talking, and that actually deepens our relationship. But what we're doing today is passing judgment on the quality of men's relationships because men don't relate with each other like women do with each other. Mm-hmm. And there's also an expectation that men ought to be like a woman in all those wonderful, virtuous ways, but not those bad ways.
Yeah.
So women want men to be strong. They want a strong male. They don't want him to be effeminate in that sense, but they want him to be sensitive when she's hurting. And so what you have here is an expectation that he be fully male, but that he operate according to the virtues of femininity. And that's an unrealistic expectation. And also, we're not understanding what motivates a man to be more loving. We think if we love on him, if we express in a card, for instance, on Valentine's Day, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, X's and O's, pink hearts, that he's going to feel about that the way you would as a woman. But here's the deal. We say write a respect note. Don't write a love card.
Yeah.
This man needs to know you like him, not that you just love him.
Yeah.
He tends to be assured of that. And here's what we say. We believe, and we saw this in Aurora, Colorado, 4 boyfriends immediately gave their lives for their girlfriends when that man opened up fire in that theater and killed all those people.
Yeah.
And many in the media were stunned that these men would give their lives. There isn't one man alive who would be stunned by that. We serve and we die, and it's the honorable thing to do. We literally give our lives for women, and yet somehow we've missed that, and we should be surprised by that. We're not surprised by that when we hear it, but somehow we're missing what motivates a man. And here would be a respect note. Say this: I was thinking of you today, that you would literally die for me. That is an overwhelming thought to me. Thank you. And then I tell women to sign it this way: with all my respect, the one who still admires you. With all my respect, the one who still admires you. Do not use the word love. Please, don't put X's and O's, don't put pink cards. I'm telling you, he won't throw that card away. In fact, one man said to his wife, I love you so much I would die for you. She said, oh, Harry, you keep saying that, but you never do.
Like she wants it. Well, and then here's the tragedy. We only have about 4 minutes left, but here's the tragedy. The women, as you said in your conference that I just attended, are 2 to 3 more times likely to leave a relationship now because they've been told that men should be more sensitive, and they've been led to not respect the warrior mentality, that they would die for them, so on and so forth. So we have this breakdown. Quickly, in the last 4 minutes, can you tell women and men, give them each a minute apiece, what they can do to get off the crazy cycle and get on what I believe you call the rewarding cycle, yes?
Well, that's why we wrote the book Love and Respect, that in that we define what love is to a woman, and we define what respect is to a man. And the key to motivating a man to be more loving is by meeting that need to feel respected for who he is apart from his performance. And the question is, how do you do that when he fails to be who you want him to be? Well, if he chooses things that are of different preference, he's not an evil man. There's no intrinsic evil. He just prefers things that you don't, but that doesn't make him bad. Now, if there's betrayal, my dad attempted to strangle my mother to death. He committed adultery when I was 11. Those are issues that are abusive and are betrayal, and this is evil, and that isn't something that you respect. But even then, you don't show a human being contempt. You respectfully confront the behavior that's wrong. What's happened today is that many women, because they're goodwill, they care about the relationship, they've not been coached on the fact that they appear very disrespectful during moments of conflict. And one of the gifts you can give to your husband on Valentine's Day is the gift of respect. And that's why I wrote the book, because we define what that looks like and how you do that. On the other side of that equation, Jenny, most men have been coached on how to do the loving thing, but they're frustrated as to why it doesn't seem to be working to the extent that they had hoped. Well, partly because when the woman comes at them for reassurance, there's a negativity that she displays. Her face turns sour, the eyes darken, the hand on the hip, the scolding finger, the sighing, the rolling of the eyes, the head goes back, and she will actually use words of disrespect to try to awaken him to the need for love. But what happens is we take up offense and say we're sick and tired of this disrespect. But here's why he needs to decode. She's not trying to be disrespectful. She's seeking reassurance. This is not a complaint about him. This is ultimately a compliment that she needs something that only he can give. And so we encourage men to stay engaged and not walk away, which is the honorable thing to do, because part of this loving thing means to be able to decode that she's not trying to be disrespectful, but seeks reassurance that you love her.
Yeah, she's trying to seek love from him, and he's trying to get respect from her. And really, folks, that's all it is. So, Dr. Eggerichs, please just let me sing your praises. I'm so glad that you have taken scripture and taken secular research and explained to people that this will save their relationship, love and respect. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We so appreciate having you. We are going to come back with a tape that we did with Dr. Eggerichs, a taped interview back in early January, where he was able to come alongside a mother who was in a desperate situation in her marriage, honestly. It was a tearful conversation, but Dr. Eggerichs came alongside her to help her. I think a lot of women out there are going to identify with this, and a lot of men are going to learn from this. So please stick with us on the Channel Mom Show.